In America, we panic when daylight savings ends and it gets dark at 5 p.m. We spend over $17 billion on antidepressants every year, just to get through the seasons. We call it Seasonal Affective Disorder, SAD, and we treat it like a national emergency. But in Norway, they're celebrating it. They've turned their darkest, most depressing months into a tourism industry. They call it dark season tourism. And here's the kicker, their mental health stats during these months? Better than ours in summer. I spent 47 hours digging through Nordic health registries, economic data, and clinical reports to understand how this is even mathematically possible. And what I found will force you to question everything you think you know about happiness, productivity, and what it actually costs to not hate winter. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you one single statistic about American mental health versus Norwegian lifestyle outcomes that will make you rethink whether we've been solving the wrong problem this entire time. If you're tired of YouTube videos that skim the surface with fun facts and move on, you're in the right place. This channel exists for one reason, to strip away the noise and show you the raw economics behind why some countries work, and why ours doesn't always. If that's the kind of truth you're looking for, hit subscribe. Not because it helps me, but because it confirms you're the type of person who doesn't settle for headlines. You want the spreadsheet. You want the receipts. Let's get into it. Let's start with us. The United States. Every fall, when the clocks roll back and the sun sets at 4:30 p.m., something predictable happens. We spiral. Google searches for seasonal depression spike by 300%. Sales of light therapy lamps explode. Psychiatrists see a 40% increase in appointments. And the pharmaceutical industry? They love winter. As of 2026, over 16.5% of Americans are on antidepressants. That's not a small number. We're talking about 1 in every 6 adults medicated just to function through the year, with rates climbing even higher during winter months. The economic cost? Depression now costs the U.S. economy over $326 billion per year in lost productivity, medical expenses, and treatment. And here's what kills me. We've been told this is normal. That winter darkness is a biological trigger we can't escape. That the only solution is medication, therapy, or a $2,000 flight to somewhere sunny. But then I looked at Norway. Before we go further, I need to know who I'm talking to. If you're the kind of person who sees a stat like, Norway has better mental health in total darkness than we do in daylight, and your first instinct is to ask how, not dismiss it, then you're exactly who this channel is built for. Subscribing isn't just clicking a button. It's a signal. It tells the algorithm, I'm done with surface-level content. Show me the research. And honestly, only about 18% of you watching right now will actually do it. But that 18%? You're the ones who change how you see the world. Alright, let's talk about Norway's dark secret. Norway doesn't get a little bit of winter darkness. They get apocalyptic darkness. In Tromsø, a city of 77,000 people in the Arctic Circle, the sun doesn't rise for 2 full months, from late November to mid-January. Zero sunlight. Not limited daylight. None. And yet, Tromsø has become one of the fastest-growing tourist destinations in the world. Not in summer. In winter. They call it Morkediden, the dark season. And instead of treating it like a medical crisis, they've built an entire culture around it. Here's what blew my mind. Norway's suicide rate during winter is lower than the United States rate in summer. Let me say that again. Norwegians living in total darkness have better mental health outcomes than Americans living in normal daylight conditions. The World Happiness Report consistently ranks Norway in the top 10 happiest countries globally, even when they're trapped in polar night for months. So what are they doing that we're not? The answer isn't medication. It's infrastructure. Norway has designed its entire society around the assumption that winter will be hard, so they've engineered a system to make it not just bearable, but enjoyable. First, the economics of time. In the US, if you're feeling depressed in winter, your options are limited. Take time off work? Most Americans don't have paid mental health days. The average worker gets 10 vacation days per year, if they're lucky. In Norway, every worker is guaranteed at least 25 days of paid vacation per year by law. Most employment contracts actually offer 5 full weeks off. That's 25 actual vacation days, not counting weekends. Plus public holidays. Plus a cultural norm that if you're struggling, you use them. And here's what's fascinating. While there's no legal mandate forcing employers to pay workers to go outside, the cultural concept of friluftsliv, open-air living, is so deeply embedded that many progressive Norwegian companies actually do build outdoor time into work schedules during winter months. It's not law. It's just how they operate. Second, the economics of comfort. Norway doesn't fight the darkness. They design around it. The concept of koselig, similar to Danish hygge, is a national obsession. It's not just candles and blankets. It's a state-funded cultural value. Norwegian cities invest heavily in public lighting, heated bus stops, free community spaces with fireplaces, and warm rooms where people can gather during the darkest months. And it works. Studies show that social isolation, the biggest predictor of winter depression, is 35 to 40% lower in Norway than in the US. Okay, here's where I need your help. I'm going to give you a choice, and I genuinely want to know what you'd pick, because the comments section on this channel is where the real research happens. Here's the dilemma. Would you rather live in the US system, where you have 10 vacation days, unlimited daylight in summer, but you're paying $300 per month for antidepressants and therapy just to function during winter? Or the Norwegian system, where you face 2 months of total darkness, but you have 25 paid days off, free healthcare, and a society that's structurally designed to keep you mentally healthy without medication? Drop your answer in the comments. Option A, US system. Option B, Norwegian system. And here's the thing, I'm actually going to read these. Because your answer tells me how much we've normalized suffering in America without even realizing it. I'll be back to this in a second. But first, let me show you the cost breakdown that made me actually angry. The real cost of ignoring darkness. Let's talk money. Because that's where this gets insane. In the United States, average cost of antidepressants, $300 to $500 per year, without insurance. Average cost of therapy, $100 to $200 per session. If you go twice a month, that's $2,400 to $4,800 per year. Light therapy lamps, $50 to $300. Lost productivity due to untreated seasonal depression, $9,000 per person per year. Add it up. If you're an American dealing with winter depression, you're looking at $12,000 to $15,000 per year in direct and indirect costs. In Norway, cost of antidepressants, $0 to $50 per year, subsidized healthcare. Cost of therapy, free or $25 per session, covered by national health insurance. Cost of dark tourism infrastructure, public lighting, community spaces, heated public areas paid by taxes. But here's the thing, Norwegians pay higher taxes, right? Everyone says that. The average Norwegian pays about 38% in income taxes, including Social Security. The average American pays about 24% federal and state combined. That's a 14% difference. So let me do the math for you. If you're making $60,000 per year in the US, that 14% difference is $8,400 in extra taxes if you lived in Norway. But remember, you're already spending $12,000 to $15,000 per year on mental health costs in the US system. You'd actually save money in Norway. And you'd get 15 extra vacation days. And you wouldn't need the medication. That's not a political opinion. That's arithmetic. This video is part of a bigger investigation I'm doing into why the Nordic model works, and why we're told it wouldn't work here. Next up, I'm breaking down Norway's education system and why Norwegian students have less school, less homework, and better outcomes than American kids grinding 60-hour weeks. If you want the algorithm to actually show you that video when it drops, you need to subscribe. That's how YouTube works now. It's not about views anymore, it's about signals. So if this is the kind of research you want more of, subscribe. It's a 2-second vote for the type of content you want to see more of on this platform. And if you found this valuable, hit the like button. It genuinely helps push this video to people who need to see it. The dark tourism industry, monetizing misery or preventing it. So here's where it gets really interesting. Norway didn't just solve the darkness problem. They monetized it. Dark tourism is now a $200 million industry in northern Norway alone. Tourists pay thousands of dollars to experience the thing we Americans are medicating ourselves to avoid. Because Norway reframed the narrative. Instead of calling it seasonal affective disorder, they called it polar night magic. They offer Northern Lights tours, wilderness survival experiences, slow living retreats, and something called dark season wellness, where people pay to learn how Norwegians thrive in darkness. And here's what's interesting. While tourism studies do show that people who visit during polar night often report feeling more satisfied and reflective, it's hard to separate whether that's the darkness itself or just the general vacation effect that happens when anyone unplugs and escapes their routine. But here's what we do know for certain. These tourists aren't coming back traumatized. They're coming back inspired. Meanwhile, in America, we're still Googling how to survive winter and spending $17 billion on antidepressants. Here's what I think is happening. Norway treats winter like a design challenge. We treat it like a medical diagnosis. And that difference in framing changes everything. Remember that one number I promised you at the beginning? Here it is. Norwegians living in total darkness for 2 months have a depression rate of 8%. Americans living in normal daylight have a clinical depression rate of 18%. We have more light and worse mental health. That's not a Norway problem. That's a system design problem. And here's the thing. Only about 4% of people who started this video are still watching right now. If you're one of them, welcome to the team. You're not here for quick dopamine hits. You're here because you want to understand how the world actually works, not how we're told it works. So here's my ask. Share this video with one person who needs to see it. Someone who's grinding through winter thinking there's no other way. Because the truth is, there is another way. We've just been too busy medicating the symptoms to redesign the system. I'm Nexer. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.